A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. We tend to try to keep things pretty PG-13 around here, but this is an improv podcast. So, who knows what we're going to say. Sometimes we throw in some swearing, some sexual content, and some violence. So, as a general warning, viewer discretion is advised. Also to be noted, the opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We love the game and we like talking about it. So, any criticisms are really just all in good fun. That being said, wizards, please hire us. All right, with that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
No, I did catch something. Oh! I've never seen the pop-up that says I can leave the meeting now. I don't want to be recorded. Bye.
No, he's gone.
It usually just says, like, okay, and then I don't have a choice. That was weird. I was delayed in my response to the pop-up. I wonder if it's already had started recording me against my permission.
Probably.
Oh, that's downright vile. Despicable, even.
You're welcome.
I can't think of another one. Malicious, perhaps.
Despicable Me. Have you guys ever listened to the actual lyrics to that song?
Yeah.
They're so bad.
No.
Yeah.
They're so bad.
You could even
Like,
say they're
stupid bad.
Oh.
Why is the first thing that pops up when I type in Despicable Me anime?
Because the internet is a strange, strange place, my friend.
What if they made, like, a movie about Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2, and they called it D&D movie?
Huh?
Because it would be D and D. The two Despicables. Yeah.
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 Wouldn't it
You know?
be D&D 2?
Maybe. If it's successful enough in the box office.
Well, no, because if you're talking about Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2, wouldn't it be D&D 2?
I didn't get that far in my math classes. So.
Okay.
Why ask why when this is art? Why parallel when I can just part? Why does Vector think he's smart? Does his dad know I know his part? Why did I have to live with my mom? Why do you think that I should be calm? Why want the moon? The world's in my palm. Is it crazy you think I've gone?
It floats down.
Why of in the food, when out hot, eat the food? When of out hot, eat the food.
It floats down.
I like how you corrected the word salad because you know the word salad so well.
It was wrong. I can't have errors.
I was so confused. You said corrected the word salad, and I was like, when did she say salad?
Sorry,
We're talking
I said
about
slad.
Yeah, we're talking about the D&D movie today, guys. If you couldn't tell from that riveting opening.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
We're doing great, guys.
Salad.
Slad.
Fruit
Salad.
salad.
Yummy,
Yum,
yummy.
No. I
Fruit
didn't
salad.
watch them as a kid.
That's your own damn fault.
Yummy,
No,
yummy,
I didn't have the
yummy,
remote. I
yummy
couldn't
fruit
read.
salad.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to have the remote anymore after you, popped your eardrums on what show was it?
Ed, and Eddie, and
There
that
you
was when
go.
I was 5. Thank you. I was already past my Wiggles phase.
Oh, that's good.
You can
Maybe
never
so.
pass your Wiggles phase.
I can if I didn't have one.
I had a big Wiggles phase when I was little.
Me too.
That's where my love for pirates came from, was Captain Feathersword. And then I was obsessed with pirates for like 5 years.
Oh my goodness, there's so much to talk about the D&D movie though.
Pirates.
I know, I love the Wiggles.
I wasn't even trying to move on. I was just I don't even know what just happened. I had some sort of moment. I should be checked into a mental institute. I was like, okay, my brain was like, let's shift gears. And then suddenly every single noteworthy thing I talked about when I recently saw it just flooded my head. And I was like, what? Like, get these out now. Like, they're gonna leave in 2 minutes.
I do the opposite. I watch a movie and then forget that I have a film degree because all I can go is, that was so good.
Well, let's start with. Well, maybe we should leave that for the end. I don't know. Should we start with what each of us like would rate it, or should we leave that for the end?
Those were words.
No, they weren't. What?
Slad.
Those were less words than the words you said earlier. What do you mean?
I don't know.
It's in the subtext, Levi.
I honestly am personally more interested in discussing the D&D parts about the movie than I am discussing rating part.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I say
yes.
Yeah.
Well, my rating stems from that. What I think of the, see, a lot of the reviews I've seen on the internet have been like, here's how I feel about it as a movie. But I liked it a lot more. Like most people, I think have been giving it like 8s out of 10 or 7 out of 10s. I liked it a lot because I thought it did D&D really well. So I'm like, I mean, if you watch my TikTok that I did on the Nat One podcast TikTok, if you go over on our TikTok, I gave it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. That's what I said.
I would never go over there. Yeah. I gave it like an 8 out of 10. I thought it was good. I thought it did do a good job of capturing D&D. I was thinking of it both how well it did D&D and how good I thought of it as a movie in general. I watched it with my parents once, and they liked it, which says something.
Same.
Not a whole lot, but it says something.
I watched it with my parents, and my parents loved it.
I watched it with a group of people other than my parents that played D&D recently. They liked it a lot, but they also had some problems with it. But their problems were mostly the errors. Or I don't even know if I'd call it the errors as much as their problem with it was like, man, I wish I could do that. Or I could be like that. I could do that, you know. So I thought I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It was insanely fun. The biggest problem for me is that I wanted even more.
Yeah.
And that it was predictable, but not. It wasn't bad that it was predictable.
It wasn't bad.
It was
predictable.
Good predictable. Yeah, it was good predictable.
I don't know if it's just how I have been in the movies I've watched recently or not. I wanted some twist or surprise to get me, but I'm very glad they didn't try to shoehorn one in. That would have been bad. So I don't know.
His wife was the witch all along.
I might give it like an 8.5 out of 10 maybe then. Overall, very good. Not perfect, but very good.
I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 because I agree with it did D&D very well, but also from being a lover of practical cinematic effects, I'm obsessed with all of the stuff in that movie. Because the puppets in that movie were so good! So yeah, based on the puppets alone, it gets the super high rating.
Say my name. Say the name of the famous puppet.
Jargathan?
Jarnathan!
Love Jarnathan.
I couldn't remember if it was a G or an N.
No, it isn't N. It's Jonathan, but with Jar instead of R.
Jarnathan. The coolest puppet.
Pretty sure that person that played Jarnathan went on to start.
They pronounced it Eric Coker in the movie.
Yeah. They made a TikTok, and I think it's just like a bunch of behind-the-scenes footage of them wearing the Jarnathan suit.
Oh.
Good for them, though.
Yeah, that was... Oh, go ahead.
I think that their TikTok handle is literally Jarnathan_D&D. I can't get over that.
That was a thing that, like, obviously it didn't make the movie any worse for me, but there were a couple of things that they pronounced that I'm like, I don't pronounce that way. When they said it like I pronounce it Aarakocra, they pronounced it Aarakocra, and I was like, I don't say it that way.
That's not right.
I Sango no Miya Kokomi. Yeah, I thought puppets were fine. I didn't love them. I'm sure if they were, well, I don't know. If they were CG, I might have liked them more. I might have liked them less. I probably wouldn't have liked them more, but I may have. I really liked the orc in the beginning with the makeup effect part.
Yes, the orc was really cool.
Yeah. but I wasn't particularly swayed by the puppets. I was just like, oh, sure, it works.
I love puppets. I love that the tabaxis were practical. That was cool.
The baby one weirded me out.
I thought that it was really cool how they did the character backstory as they used it to set up the information in the movie that we needed. I thought that was cool and it was funny. They did a little joke about it.
Yeah. I liked it towards the end. Spoilers. Here's the spoiler warning. This whole episode probably will have it because there's no way we're actually going to be able to separate a spoiler section and a non-spoiler section.
No.
Yeah. We're going to go all over the place.
Starting now, spoiler warning. Stop watching if you haven't seen the movie yet. Go see the movie.
Yeah. Whenever Forge is arrested and giving his, whatever you want to call it, his plea, his sentence hearing thingy, and he's like, well, I guess it all started with me mum. I lost it. And then it actually does the flashback to his mom.
You have to hear my character's tragic backstory.
Yeah. And is Jonathan going to be here? I think he would really benefit from hearing this. I think he'd be especially receptive to...
And if we stop now, how are you going to know my tragic backstory?
Yeah.
They made a joke about lore dumps when they were talking to the paladin. That was fun, I think.
Movie rating wise, is there anything else we want to talk about before we start discussing the D&D elements more than the movie rating stuff?
The cameo in the maze from the original D&D party from the cartoon.
Oh, that's who that was.
I knew that part. Who was the other one?
Original. I don't know who the other people were. I don't fucking care. They had the original party in there, and I was so excited. I almost screamed in the movie theater. I giggled during that entire movie, but that made me so extraordinarily happy. I almost fell out of my chair.
I'm gonna see. I'm curious what that other group was.
It's probably a reference to something, but I got so excited that I was not paying attention to anything else.
The Olga halfling love interest, wasn't that a cameo that I was unaware of? I thought that guy was a cameo.
I don't know.
I just didn't when I heard who it was, I was like, I've never heard that name before in my entire life. Let me look.
Oh yeah, that's Bradley Cooper.
Oh,
Bradley Cooper.
Who?
He's famous.
That's a name.
What do you do?
He's from A Star Is Born.
A Star Is Born, Hangover, American Sniper, Burnt, Nightmare Alley. First Guardians of the Galaxy, apparently he's in.
I guess, I tried to look up what the other group was. I can't find it. Oh. I was thinking it might have been like a Baldur's Gate group would have been the other group.
Yeah, potentially. But no, the group that I'm talking about was they did it so well, where they were so clearly that party, and it just made me so happy.
And you didn't see them die on screen.
I know, that means that they're still out there somewhere. They survived.
Did they?
And they're still trying to escape the world of Dungeons and Dragons with very little help from Dungeon Master.
Well, now hold on a second though. They were in that cage.
They were in the middle of that thing when the smoke came down.
That's what I was thinking.
They're fine. They're fine.
They're all right. So
the only I can't remember because I wasn't paying attention because I was just freaking out. I don't think that they had the unicorn with them. Is the only downside. They didn't have Uni, which is upsetting.
Yeah. If that's, well, I guess, or that's a good segue. That is a good segue point to get into the more D&D parts of the movie, rather than talking about it as a film, but talk about it as a D&D movie. There's a lot to talk about.
There was so much.
I guess let's start with the setting, Faerun. Specific parts of Faerun, but Forgotten Realms.
Sword Coast, and I forget what it's called, but it's the part that's north above the Sword Coast, above the spine.
Dale.
Yeah.
Yep, with the prison at the top. Got to see that a bit.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Started off with that, yeah.
it almost seemed like they were trying to visit many places in this, which is good.
Or they mentioned them if they didn't directly visit them, because I know that there were a couple different name drops.
Walder's Deep and Baldur Gate. No, wait, I did that one right. Hold on. Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate were mentioned, and we even saw the officials.
We saw Neverwinter.
Yep, that's the main setting. I would say personally.
And I mean, they traveled around the countryside, obviously, of Faerun.
Yep. They did go to the Underdark, but it didn't really feel like they explored all that.
Yeah, it wasn't very much explory of the Underdark.
Yeah.
It was just, we're down here for 5 minutes. We got to see Intellective Hours. We got a funny little Intellective Hour
I loved the
cameo.
Intellective Hours.
And also, they did a joke about that.
Yeah, well, that's insulting.
I thought it was funny.
Their design it weirded me out because I'm so used to having straight up dog legs.
Freaky.
But their legs were not hairy. They were just a continuation of the brainy part.
I love
That's how I've always imagined them.
Me too.
No, what the heck? I saw the official D&D art and I assumed they had dog legs.
No, I've always thought like hairless pink cat legs.
Ew.
Yeah.
I was picturing like the Sphinx cats.
Yeah.
I was picturing, what's that Ben 10 alien?
I don't know.
Oh,
you know the one.
No.
Actually, I do now that you're saying it. Yes.
See?
I don't remember any of the Ben 10 alien names except for Forearms.
What about Way Big?
Well, now I do. But yeah, no. What was the dragon they had in there? That was a real dragon from the Faerun setting, and that's like his thing.
Oh, yeah.
Lord Chonkulon.
That's
not his name, but it might as well be.
He's extremely, like he ate an entire dwarven horde or something, and that's why he's like ginormous. What was his name? It started with a T, I think.
Yes, it did.
PH. But regardless, yeah, that was fun that they got to do that. They had the Red Wizards of Thay were the main antagonists.
Also canon, yeah.
Which is a nice little thing from the Forgotten Realms universe. Let's see, is there anything else that we're missing off the top of our heads?
About what? Canon factions?
Just like canon stuff from Faerun that they
every
like stuff that made it important. Well, yeah, every spell, but that's canon to like.
I figured we would talk about that here in a minute because that was awesome.
I was just thinking if it was just anything like, oh, this is a thing that's a Faerun only thing that's in Faerun. Here it is, Harper's,
yes. Interesting. There was a few things I noticed, which we have to talk about the Harpers especially. Zank, the paladin, at one point talked about. Well, it was strange. He at one point said to Edgin when he was leaving, he was like, "At times like this reminds me of the tenets of the Oath of the Ancients." So there was that, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to figure out what his oath actually was. He said that, and it made me go like, "That is not what he is, right? He is not Oath of the Ancients."
Well, we could go off of the D&D Beyond ones, but I don't know if those are canon to the movie at all.
I think they were supposed to be pretty accurate.
They are. I looked at them. Those don't have subclasses listed. So
Taryn and I agreed that the main character, what's his name?
Edgin.
Taryn and I agreed that Edgin shouldn't have been a bard. We thought he would have been better as an inquisitive rogue.
All right, are we jumping in on that?
We can if we want to.
I can see that.
The Edgin thing is probably the most divisive thing that's come out of this movie, I think. I talked about this with the Walmart party. I've talked about this somewhat with you guys in a sense. I don't like bard as a class. I don't like how it's designed. I don't like magical secrets. I don't like they have 9th level casting. When if a new player or any player sees the name bard as a class you can play, being able to cast Meteor Swarm is not the proper fulfillment. Exactly. It does not fulfill class, expectations, class fantasy. So I always have an issue with how bards are actually played in D&D 5th edition, because they don't play the way someone would think a bard should be. I always thought bards, when I think of a bard in any game, whether it be D&D or video games, whatever, look at Darkest Dungeon, for example, their kind of thing is all about playing songs and being support.
Yeah.
Like bardic inspiration, right?
Yeah.
So, although I still don't think Edgin was quite right, I don't think he was done quite right. I do think he should have been able to do some magic. I think one of the things they could have done is they could have let him do the illusion that they
Yeah.
did in the movie, because then that would have been some sort of thing. But I guess it would have detracted a bit, because then they would have been like, "You can do magic," and he would have to explain or something. And then the audience that hasn't played D&D might have even more questions, like, "Well, why could he do that but not the other stuff?" You know. It's difficult for the movie's sake, but like.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I told the other group is I said, I wish whenever he was like talking up the other people, there was some sort of indication of magical effect. Like his eyes light up, or there's a poof of like magical fairy farts in the air. I don't care. But something that showed
something start glowing.
Yeah, he was magically enhancing them by inspiring them. That's what I wished they would have done to improve his bardish character, because otherwise, yeah, he does not. He seems like an NPC. He seems like a classless character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he honestly seemed more like an NPC than the paladin did.
Well, isn't there a class of bard that's about oration?
That would be eloquence, yeah.
Eloquence. So I could see that. Yeah, roughly.
Maybe. I think that's what he actually is, because he has the same feature they do. Or no, it's either that or he has the same one as knowledge. It's the one that inflicts, a negative to people when you talk at them. Which both of those do that, but
I do think, though, at the same time, like we're trying to buckle down what they might exactly be, but whoops, I accidentally muted myself. At the same time, I think that they probably were playing a little loosely with it when they were making the characters in the movie. I don't think they were just so they could have a little bit more creative freedom. They probably pulled multiple things from multiple subclasses.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, because you definitely had stuff that like was very, very D&D and was very much like, that's in the handbook. And then there was other stuff that's like, I wish that's how that worked.
Yeah. We talked about it briefly, Jordan and I did, because it was before the movie came out. We saw that the stat block came out of the characters. And I was like, the druid can wild shape 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because she was definitely more wild shape focused than spell casting focused.
Yes, she didn't cast a single spell in the movie, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so, no. Now her stat block says she could cast some spells. So did Edgin's, though. But yeah,
sequel.
Yeah, she had a special. They said she had a special version of wild shape that not only allowed her to transform into a wild bear and owl bear, but also allowed her to do it 5 times a day. But like, we were talking about how that was good, because when people think of druid, or at least if you want people to think back on the character and the character's abilities or what a druid can do, you want them to think of the wild shape.
Yeah, that's like the landmark feature.
Yes. And then I made a quick aside about how the 1D&D developers should take a page from that, because even not in the movie, but in the game, it should be around that. You want each class to fulfill their fantasy. You don't want every single casting class to end up being a worse wizard. And that's how it currently is.
What?
So I honestly think that the way that they changed a lot of the stuff was for the better, and the system should reflect it. Is how I feel.
No, I can agree with that.
The Mimi thing was people being upset about the owlbear long ago, back when the first trailer came out.
Let them be owlbears.
I don't even care about that one way or the other.
It looks freaking cool.
Yeah. Could the same thing have been done with just a normal bear? Yeah, I guess. It wouldn't be fantasy-y, it wouldn't be D&D-y. But, it If people want to do an owlbear, I guess that thing shouldn't be a monstrosity anyway, because it does not look that monstrous.
No, it's pretty cute.
It's a beast. It's just a slightly different beast.
Yeah.
I'd like to learn the lore of owlbears, because if there's a reason that they're a monstrosity, I'd like to know. You know what I mean? Are all of them a sciencey mistake?
But no, otherwise I agree. It just seems like a fantasy animal, like less of a fantasy creature, and just like this is an animal that it's like the turtle ducks from Avatar.
Yeah.
Where it's like these are deer.
Exactly. Wild mutt.
Huh?
That was the name of the Ben 10 alien.
Oh.
So yeah, the druid pointed me, because they did the druid so well. I thought that the 1D&D should reflect more of what the movie did, but I do think Edgin wasn't quite right as a bard. My group that I went and watched the movie with did not like Holga as a barbarian, because they never got to see Rage. They thought her more as a fighter. Yeah.
I thought she was a fighter.
Nope. She is a barbarian.
I thought she was a barbarian.
She is a barbarian in her stat block. She has reckless attack, and she has one of the other features, but not Rage.
See, I think we saw reckless attack being used more than Rage, but then again, I kind of disagree with the idea of Rage being a very visible ability anyway, because I don't agree with all barbarians just being the Rage and then smashing shit. I feel like it can be more subtle, at least in RP, and I think that's kind of what they did in the movie. So I liked her as a barbarian.
I thought the actress did a phenomenal job, but
oh yeah.
In the same way that the druid wild shaped so much, and we got to see that, and we saw Simon cast his spells, and we got to see that, and how they very, very clearly illustrated the difference between wizard and sorcerer. I thought that was very well done. There should have been something visible about the Rage, I think, especially for people that have never seen D&D before. You know, they're not going to be able to know the difference when the time comes if they do choose to play it or anything. They're just going to think she was the one that hit things. And I think that also may have highlighted a problem with D&D, is that it's hard to discern the difference between some martial classes because their features are, well, you know, negligible compared to each other. But that's how I felt about the classes. I was disappointed there was no item about Simon's little spell wheel.
I thought that was cool.
I liked it as well.
It's just his arcane focus.
That's what I figured it was. I liked that, and the representation of wild magic was neat.
Yeah. I don't know. It didn't feel like wild magic to me because he didn't do random magic when he cast. Instead, his casting was just not efficient.
You just never rolled a 1.
Well, that's not the only way you can do it. I don't know. First off, I wanted his item. I thought his item was cool, and I'm sad they didn't make that. They made the little spinny wheel thingy that he had spells. They didn't do that. They added the red horn of kill everything, but they didn't add the spell wheel. Anyway.
They added the staff and the helmet.
Yeah.
I want the staff.
The portal gun staff is really
I love the portal gun staff.
Hither, thither, yeah, okay. I was like, what staff? Like, the first thing that came to my mind, I was thinking of the wizard that bonked his son, or bonked his ancestor, or his, you know what I mean.
Although, speaking of magic, can we talk about how beautifully they demonstrated what losing concentration on a spell looks like? That was my favorite thing. When he, visibly failed his concentration checks.
When?
At the beginning, when he was stealing from everybody and he got distracted and the spell failed, and then when the illusion went wrong, when his foot got caught.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that. I love that they were able to show, this is a failed concentration check.
I did like that they were able to illustrate concentration well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing, though, where I'm sad that something like that can't happen in game. There is no... Unless... There's no existing rule set except for DM intervention, and that's the eternal problem with D&D, right? Is anytime you bring up a problem with the game, people online will say, well, the DM can just do it. And it's in that point, why is there ever any book at all? But I think that the things that they did were very neat, where he got his foot stuck and he saw people he didn't expect, and so he made concentration checks. That would never happen in a game because there's no actual reason for it, because concentration is only performed at the result of damage.
It was still cool though, narratively and visually. I thought it was interesting because I thought it was very identifiable that even though he wasn't taking damage, that's what that was.
It was.
Like, that happened. I was like, he failed the concentration check.
Yeah. It makes me sad that there are no rules in the game for what happened in the movie, because I think the movie did it well, better than the game.
That's the name of the movie.
Exactly. What'd you say?
We'll just add it into our game.
No, don't feed into their lies. The people that say, well, just homebrew it.
That's what we do anyway.
I will say, yeah, they didn't add the dang spell wheel, but they added the red wizard blade, which I think we got mentioned once in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Was the wife got spoilers? The wife got by a red wizard blade, and so that's why she couldn't be revived.
Yep.
I did like that they did something so that it couldn't just be like, oh, well, why didn't they just revive her?
I like the discussion of magic can't solve everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was good.
That was cool.
Just solve it with magic. Just pay it with magic. Which is funny, especially when when the druid, when Doric was like, he literally just went on a tangent or a discussion about why he can't do everything with magic, and then he's like, actually, can't talk with corpses. And I even thought whenever they were like, we still have to pay, and then Holga was like, just pay it with magic. And they just moved on. That was the joke. But I was thinking in my head, I was like, you can do that. I was like, there's spells that make fake money. Like,
it would be fake. It would go away after you got a distance away.
You can
but
do
you
that.
You could do it.
There's also, you could do friends if you wanted to try and do that and be like, oh, you got my tab, right? Like,
the horn of beckoning death.
Yeah, the horn of kill everything around me.
It only does it if you have 9 or fewer hit points.
Yeah, it's actually not nearly as menacing as it seems, except for in the specific context of the movie where it's a bunch of NPCs.
Commoners.
They all have 1 hit point, so it's terrifying.
Yeah, it would never be scary whatsoever in an actual combat above level 3.
That's why the
really
paladin
level
didn't
2.
die.
Yeah.
That's why the paladin got away. He had PC armor. He had PC plot armor.
I'm telling you, the people that wrote that movie understood the game better than the community and the devs, because they had a line.
They can write one D&D.
I wish. Edgin even said after they survived the encounter in the Underdark, he was like, well, I wish you were coming with us because you're better at, strategy and fighting and, basically everything except talking. And I was like, hey, that's how the game is. That's actually how the game is. Paladin is better at everything except talking. Typically. Unless somehow you have a bunch of, I don't know, wizard and druid and cleric and then paladin, and then they might still be better at talking. That was another thing. But he was more of a traditional paladin, though. He was the type that's super to the oath.
Yeah.
And he didn't stick around the whole time, which was better for the story and for the illustration of the class. But I just kept thinking to myself, I was like, if he was in there the whole time, I bet people would get sick of him unless they nerfed the paladin in the movie.
He's just that good.
Yeah.
Just play paladin. Just everyone play paladin. He's so cool.
We got to see him use Detect Good and Evil. He was down there and he suddenly sniffed and said, I smell evil.
Yeah.
Love that.
That was funny. Yeah, I like that way of Detect Good and Evil, because it is a one... For one action, for one round, the stuff.
It does say on it too that it hits you like a stench.
Does it really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's funny.
It says in the description that it's like a horrible smell when you do it. Yeah.
So they did that. It was cool. We didn't actually get to see lay on hands, but he did do a calming touch on the fish. which I liked that because I was like, yes, remove their innate healing, please, for the love of God. And actually, and this might be divisive, I don't think he used smite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I can completely understand that viewpoint. I don't really have anything to
Dang it! What
Yeah.
do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm not gonna argue.
The whole point where his sword turned bright white and light. You're not gonna argue about that being
Yeah,
smite?
it could have
I
just
thought
been
that
like a magic
was-
sword.
I thought it was magic sword, or I thought it was, what is it, holy weapon?
Yeah, I thought it was holy weapon.
I thought it
That's
was
what I
holy
gonna
weapon. I didn't
say.
think it was smite.
That's what I was gonna say.
I stole your point, haha.
Jordan stole my answer, teacher.
I said it first, so
Cheating.
technically you're the one that cheated, because I said it first. Yeah, that's how that works.
No.
I turned in my homework first and the answers were right, and you have the same answers as me, so you cheated.
I'm looking for Detect Good and Evil so I can read it. Where are you? You're here somewhere. I've been looking for it this entire time.
Oddly enough, though, on his stat block, he only wears half plate and has an AC of 15.
Oh, wow.
That surprised me.
The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor,
Well, there you go.
and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears.
Aw. I do hope that they franchise this, though.
Me too.
As long as they keep putting them out at the same quality as this one, yes, I hope
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
they franchise it.
Question is, if for the very next one that they do end up making, do you want it to still center around Edgin or some of the people in Edgin's group, or do you want them to move on to a different group in Faerun?
I think it could be like, I think it could work if they centered it around Edgin's group, because I feel like this was very much a like, oh, now we all work together at the end. Like it was very much like a party
Yeah.
coming together story.
Yeah.
So then the next one could be like, yeah, we solved the crisis in Neverwinter. We're heroes. Oh, what's that? Someone wants to hire us or something like that. Or maybe the Red Wizards, because they got on the Red Wizards' bad side. Maybe they got to keep going down that track.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they
True.
got to fight, what's his name? Zastam, I think.
Zastam, yep.
They got to get him. That would be wild, too, if, like, in the movie they killed a very well-known entity from Faerun. They just outright killed him.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah,
what
I think
was
they
thinking.
could go any number of ways with Edgin's group. I think they could also do just like, oh, here's a brand new group. But honestly, I feel like after the success of the first movie, people might want them to continue
I'd kind of like to see more
with
from
Edgin's
this
group.
group.
I liked them. I
Yeah,
thought they were fun.
I
Maybe
agree.
even add like another member, maybe.
Mm.
Make
Yeah.
the daughter a rogue. Man,
Yes.
just have it be like 3, 4, 5 years later, and now she's young adult.
There's a lot they'd have to watch out for, but I do want more of them. And I do think, yeah, they're set up to battle the Red Wizards of Thay. I think Zastam is their BBEG. I was talking about this with the Walmart group. They were like, man, that didn't feel like a campaign. And I was like, I agree. I feel like that was a snippet of a campaign.
That was an arc.
D&D
Yeah.
movie trilogy? D&D.
Because the backstory of how they began, that was like levels 1 through 5, is
Yeah.
how I felt. Them
They were,
doing their
yeah, they
little
were pretty
stuff.
well established characters.
And then afterwards, when we really start watching the movie, I think that was probably like 5 to 8, maybe.
Yeah.
Although Sophina was definitely like a level 20 wizard. She had Meteor Swarm.
Yeah.
Actually, no, she didn't have Meteor Swarm. She had a special feature in her stat block called Swarm of Meteors.
Ah, completely different thing.
Yeah, very different.
I think the earliest you get 9th level spell slots is level 17.
Yes.
So I would say she was probably a level 17 wizard.
Yeah, but also a level 17 wizard isn't necessarily like unstoppable for a group of like 4 or 5 lower levels
Exactly.
because it's a wizard.
And spoilers, that's what happened.
Yes. So I
I
can
love
believe
the
that.
owlbear beating the crap out of the Red Wizard.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
that was
so
good.
funny. Where she
The
just threw her like a
statue fight was really
ragdoll.
cool too.
Yes.
Honey, wake up! New Hulk beating Loki just dropped.
That's what it reminded me of, but it was better, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, I love Dork. I really hope Dork and Simon keep coming back.
Yeah, I like Dory a lot.
I like both of them.
It made me laugh how unfitting Dork was compared to some of their motivations. Because like Holga was just kind of Holga. Edgin, his motivation was kind of pure, but he was a goofy guy.
Yeah.
Simon was goofy, and then Dork was like, "They've destroyed my land, and I want to help my people." And
Which, I
it's
mean,
like,
isn't that how it goes?
exactly, that's what I thought. I was like, that's very much a D&D group. There's one person, or maybe a few, that have tonally different things.
Yeah, I don't know who that would be. I don't.
Me neither. Sango no Mi Kokomi.
Oh.
One of my favorite things I think we've talked about this, but not on the podcast yet because we hadn't talked about this on the podcast. Is there were two things I really liked, and they were towards the end in that final fight with Sofina. I really really liked the portrayal of combat towards the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
After the whole hand thingy, after that was done, and they were all fighting her together.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big, like, I don't know what you would call that. Jordan, you're the film person. It was one shot, but it like swooped left to right.
Yeah, it was like a panning crane shot kind of.
Yeah. That was probably 15, maybe 20 seconds of camera time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that right there was 3 rounds of combat.
That's 3 rounds of combat and 6 hours at the table.
Yes, because you saw actions, you saw hits, you saw misses, you saw grapples, you saw reactions, you saw it all right there. And I was like, that feels so much like what I envision would be the sum up of when we're done with the combat. Like if you could replay it, kind of like how the Paradox games, you replay your map takeover really quick. That's how I imagine our combats after everyone's turn would be over. The whole thing, start to finish, was like that.
Yeah.
So fast. Makes me want to have some tool that can do that for our combats.
Just get an artist on payroll.
Yeah.
Should need
animate as
crazy.
We speak.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll have several hours while
while
you're doing the combat to animate it. So
I'll just learn Blender and do it myself in the middle. Oh my gosh.
Just learn how to program. Just
because honestly, that combat made me think of some of our more epic combats. And made me think that same thing of like, damn, I wish I could go back and rewatch some of our like greatest hits, like the Methus fight, or the entropy fight at the very end of Vivia 2. That reminded me of that a little bit too, with all the spells flying and stuff like that. It was very cool.
Yeah. So there was that. I really liked that. And then I also really liked the little, it was almost not really an in joke as much as more it was an in threat for people that play D&D. When Sofina did the time stop a second time at the end.
Yes.
And she approached Edgin and was definitely about to cast Finger of Death. But nobody other than D&D people would know what Finger of Death is or does. People would know it was threatening, but no one knew just how threatening it was.
Yeah.
I figured it was going to be Finger of Death or Power Word Kill was going to be the final blow. Either way, terrifying.
That long finger.
Yeah, she had her finger became long, black, and gnarled. And she even said to him, she said, like, but your death does not mean the end for you, something. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's got a finger of death him, she's got a finger of death him, and he's going to become a zombie, and zombies can't be revivified after they're killed because he's a humanoid.
He's with his wife.
You could tell after also still again spoiler. I mean, we're like spoiling left and right over here, but I for some reason feel
we
the
gave
need
the
to
big
say,
warning at the beginning.
No, when Olga was like that, you knew when Olga was dying what was gonna happen. Again, that was one of the things that was like it was predictable.
That was the good.
But I wasn't upset. No, I wasn't upset
the one part,
that I knew that's what was going to happen. And yeah, they revived Olga, and it was great.
Both times I watched the Olga dying scene, both times made me emotional. I was sad both times. I didn't cry, but I was like,
it did its job. It was sad.
That's why I was sad. I told my mom about that. Like when I watched it the second time, I told my mom, I was like, yeah, it about got me again. And she was like, oh, but it was okay because you knew she was going to be all right. And I was like, no, Mom, that's not the point. The point is it made me sad twice. That's good. I was like, that's the good part.
It's just like real in character that like we're probably going to heal him, but it's still like you got that moment of, oh shit.
Very true.
Man, it was a
D&D movie. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if we had another movie with that gang or whatever, but I wouldn't mind also Is this the first time in recorded history where people are asking for a franchise? I think it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
like we're asking for it over here. I want this. Give it
Instead
to
of
us.
bemoaning that there is one that shouldn't be.
Please, please, please make the second movie about the cartoon party that is definitely still alive.
You don't have to.
Please.
You don't. I'm with Pertuset on this one. You don't have to do that,
I want to
Hasbro. We
see
can.
them in the game.
That's so weird now, being like, yeah, the Hasbro movie.
Yeah. True, because the company that made E1, that's a Hasbro, and I think this is their first film.
Good for them.
True, right? Good start.
Yeah.
I was looking at their box office gross earlier. They've almost
It did
doubled.
really well. Everyone was expecting John Wick 4 to be the one that was gonna like crown the box office for that set of weeks, and D&D beat it in like the first day.
Yeah. It's almost doubled the amount that it spent. Like the gross is almost double the money spent to make it. Yeah. Not just the money made, but or not just the money it's made, but like the gross is double. So it's really good. But yeah, I don't just want more movie, like another one, just more like in the line of movies of like Edgin 1, Edgin 2. I want like more of these D&D Honor Among Thieves, D&D Welcome to the Elements.
Yeah.
I feel like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I want like series and other things, like maybe
like a Greyhawk one.
Well, maybe I was thinking there's a whole. They were mostly on the Sword Coast and Neverwinter. There's a whole other half, or met several fifths or so.
Yeah.
Well, only like
there's
4
several other
fifths,
places
but
in Faerun.
yeah, that they could have a series of adventurers that do smaller time adventures.
Yeah.
Level 1 stuff. Cleared out the rats in the
would
basement.
Be a very good if they wanted to do a Lord of the Rings try to tackle a Lord of the Rings they could do Dragonlance.
And I think if they were to do like what Disney's doing with the old X-Men cartoon, they could bring back the D&D cartoon as it was and just make new episodes.
I don't know how I feel about that.
No, I was trying
now
to
you don't like the D&D cartoon?
No, I'm kidding. I think it would be wonderful if they did something with that property, though.
Yeah.
I think that they could bring that back, and it would be pretty cool. Even if it was just a limited run of something.
Yep. And I want other groups.
Like Star Wars The Clone Wars. They can do a final season.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do Legend of Vox Machina because they're on their own thing and they're in their own world.
Yeah, they're not.
They do
they're not
also have their
They
own
already
show.
have a show.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. But I don't know. I do want Critical Role to be involved in some of this stuff.
I was surprised that there was no cameo. Can we talk about that for a second? I genuinely thought that there was going to be at least one cameo from someone.
Now, Matt Mercer's too busy being Ganondorf, so
there was a reference.
Was there?
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
Fresh cut grass.
Yeah.
I did miss that. I didn't even think of that. I wonder if that was a legitimate reference.
I think it was.
It had to be because that's such specific wording.
And they had tweeted earlier, one of the Critical Role people said there is a reference in the movie. Just one. They were like, it's a small reference, but it is there. So I feel like that had to be it.
I didn't think that they were going to show up as their characters, but I figured that they would at least have someone as an NPC in the background or something.
I thought when there was 3 groups in the maze, the other one was going to be one of the Critical Role groups.
That would be cool, yeah.
It would have been Critical Role in the old D&D cartoon and then our actual current adventurers. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, that would have been perfect.
That's what I thought, right?
They can be the antagonists of the third movie after they kill Zastam.
What?
Amazing.
No. I want a Sirarak to be in the movie.
Although, continuing on the line of actual play being involved with the movie, can we acknowledge, I don't remember who it is in the cast, but one of the people in the cast wants so badly to be on Dimension 20.
Jonathan?
No, I think it might have, I don't remember who it was. But somebody keeps tweeting about how they want to be on Dimension 20.
I will say, if they wanted to do an Asirak they could do what you've been talking about, Pertuset, where they do another adventuring group that is just Tomb of Annihilation.
That's their
They
thing.
could just do a Tomb of Annihilation movie.
Ooh, Tomb of Annihilation as a movie would be cool.
Wouldn't it? I want. Okay, there's a lot.
Just
I want a lot
all
from this.
the well-known
Can we everything?
adventures.
Can we just stop
Do a
making
Curse of
any
Strahd.
other movie or series just only D&D for a few years?
Only
Marvel
D&D.
did. Yeah, Because I
Like
want to
Marvel
see a
until
lot
it
of
gets
stuff.
bloated and then we can stop.
See, the thing is, though, the part of the reason that Marvel got so bloated is because the tone of every single movie was the same. Because it's D&D, you can have every single type of thing told.
Oh yeah, you can have wildly differing stories and tonal tones across the
And
franchise.
settings, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the freaking Spelljammer. You could do a space D&D movie and it wouldn't feel like a freaking cop-out or something. Or like a trend. Spee! You're a real one if you know that reference. Are y'all real ones? Levi?
I just liked how you said spee. I have no idea what that's in reference to.
Alright, well, I won't say.
Everyone's looking it up. She's cheating.
Nuh-uh.
What? I'm not doing anything. I'm afraid to search most of the things that you guys say.
Fair.
Mine was wholesome. It's just anyway.
What's it from? What's it from? Explain, and then we can know for sure that it's wholesome.
I'll tell you it's from Kaguya-sama.
Oh,
So there you go. Yeah, I want all of it.
I will also say, going forward, I could see them doing something similar to like how actual D&D works. And so this was firmly Edgin's movie. Like, he's the main character. I feel like it would be cool if they continued to do this as a franchise, barring the imagination of like doing a series in all the different locations, which would be really sick. But if they just kept with this group, I feel like you could have each character kind of gets their movie, kind of like you get different character arcs across D&D, where like certain locations and missions that you're going on are tied to one character and another, like, so like next movie, like you could deal with Doric's stuff a little bit more in the next one and like do Simon, and I think that could be cool.
I would agree, yeah. I really liked the ending where all the party members fell at the end and they were all like happy and adventuring and stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
I want to see more of them doing stuff. But
what about the post-credit scene? Did you like the post-credit scene?
Oh my gosh, when they announced that they were gonna make D&D smoothies, I was so happy.
No, there was actually a post-credit scene.
I know, I watched it.
Did you like it?
It was just about as impactful as what I just said.
Did you like it? You're not answering my question.
Spee.
God.
It floats down. There was another thing I was thinking about. There was a thing I was gonna mention about all this. Oh, the one thing about the rules as they move forward. I think it's imperative for them to stick with the rules they have laid out so far, though. I think if they were to do something later where they introduce another character that's a bard and the bard can do things Edgin couldn't, that would be messy. I don't think that'd be good.
They definitely need to be very careful with their continuity.
Yeah, I think even though people don't necessarily agree on like Edgin and to some extent Holga, I think they should stick with what they've established and not try to, not even retroactive. They should not even have Edgin learn he can do magic or then in the next movie mention, yeah, I can do a bit of magic. They should keep it as it is and just roll. Maybe say something later where he's like, oh yeah, I'm a bard, but not like that kind of bard. That would be fine, I think. Like...
He's a bard in the literal artistic sense, but not in the magical college sense.
Yeah, that would work. But yeah.
I'm a bard. I didn't go to school for it, though.
Also, by the way, Zastam was kind of absolutely menacing, just as a quick side note.
Yeah?
The way they showed him that was kind of terrifying.
Yeah, the scenes in Thay I thought were pretty terrible, like not bad, but like terrible, like scary, terrible.
Yeah, they did a really good job of showing the dire situation.
Mm-hmm. I loved the beckoning death as we saw it on screen. The Mist liked it all right. I really liked the weird red lightning stuff that's stuck in the sky.
Yeah.
It was weird and creepy, and I was like, yeah, that's what I like. That's what I'm talking about right there.
And the design of the dead was really cool too.
The way that both Zastam and Sofina floated up did make me giggle. It was kind of goofy. They just
I think, what else do you do with that though? Because I
that's
think
what I was
it
gonna
sounds
say.
cool. It sounds cool in theory when you're like, yeah, this character can fly and float. But I think when you look at it visually, humans are not meant to move that way, and it just looks funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was any better way to do all that other than that part. They could have had her like climb up something instead. It just wouldn't. I don't know. They did the best they
Spider climb.
could. When's Lolth dropping? When do they do? When are they going to talk
Oh,
about the
no.
Drow and all their stuff?
Oh no, don't. They're gonna be people drooling over. Don't give us the evil Spider Queen.
Maybe they should be the first ever people to be smart and instead license out all the Underdark Drow stuff to like animation studio in Japan and have it be an anime.
Anime?
then-
No, I
There
think
you
we
go.
go one step further.
Huh,
No.
what?
I mean, Jordan's on the right track.
No.
Make a manga.
No, further than anime, not
Yeah,
backwards.
no, I knew. I figured it out.
I don't think Lolth is ever depicted wearing anything on her top half.
There's that one really gross art of her from either second edition or third edition where she doesn't have a top half. She just has a woman face on the front of a spider.
True. They could go with that depiction.
No, please don't.
They could just
Please.
do like webs.
I think they should almost just make it be like Illustrae, but spidery, right? Like she should just be like a woman that has spider clothes or something, not an actual spider.
Oh, I'm wrong. I
lady.
was immediately disproven. I'm looking at a picture right now.
She wears clothes?
It's like armor.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And then in the 5e picture, it's like webs. She's wearing like webs.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
I'd also save on budget if they just had her have like a web costume. Maybe she can transform into a spider, but like
But if they did do Illustrae is always naked.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's her thing, is that she's always
Good old hot dog.
buffing it.
Reserve that for a mental only character. Like, oh guys, I'm talking to Illustrae in my head. Why isn't she in person? Well,
Dude, legally we can't. It'll change the rating of the
the
movie.
law requires that she doesn't appear.
God damn it, hot dog.
Or if she does, the shot just always has to be above her shoulders.
Or over the shoulder.
Or over
Yep.
the shoulder, yeah.
Or like she's
Or
just
they could just
completely
do
out
the
of frame.
Yeah, they could do the anime thing where her hair covers it.
I
Oh
feel
my
like
God.
that still might be a little pushing it.
That's how they did it. That's how they do it in D&D. All of her statues do that.
I know.
That's how they do it in Elden Ring.
When are we gonna get Queen Marika the Golden in the D&D movie?
When are we gonna make an Elden Ring movie?
Yeah,
But actually,
they
where's
did
the
it with
line?
D&D.
Yeah, so that's the D&D movie. It's pretty good. I liked it.
Me too.
Make more. For once, I'm telling you, make more, please. Actually do other things with this world that you've established. Use the money for good.
Yes.
And hire
also-
Chris Pratt.
Why?
That is the you've made it when you can hire Chris Pratt for
No,
your
They
they
need-
already have the superior Chris.
Well, they need to do it eventually, so I figure let's get it out early,
Yeah.
and then we don't have to do it later when it's like more important.
Can
Like,
he
how would you
die in the
feel-
first scene of the second movie?
Well, I don't know about that, but like, how would you feel if later on they announce, like they get to the final BBEG of the movie series campaign,
And it's Chris Pratt
and they have to hire Chris Pratt? Hey guys, it's me.
to be a
I'm the
Sirak.
Sirak. Isn't this crazy?
No, you're missing the Chris Pratt is Strahd.
Why are you saying these things, Jordan?
Because
Why
it's
are you-
worse
why do
than
you
what
know?
you were saying.
Exactly. We're saying it's bad. We're trying to tell you it so that you'll say no. Yeah, let's get him out of the way
Wait.
now.
No,
Make
I'm
him
thinking you just
Tiamat.
don't hire him.
No,
All
Jordan,
five.
that's not how it works. As long as he exists, he has to be in
He has
every
to be-
movie series in some form or fashion. He could just be in it for like 10 minutes.
I feel
Or-
like this.
We could do what you're saying you want, apparently.
Oh, I didn't say I wanted
Yes.
it.
He is a recurring antagonist over the course of an entire movie.
I feel like this is one of the unfortunate times where Apollo has gifted me the gift of prophecy, and it's going to go horribly wrong. Like, you know the things that people say on the internet where it's like, that's so ridiculous, that can't possibly happen. And then it
Chris
happens.
Pratt would never be Mario.
Chris Pratt could never be Strahd. Watch it happen.
Why are you saying these things? You
Hasbro
don't
hire
want them
us?
to exist.
Well, I imagine this will be the playing out thing, unless there's another thought we want to talk about. But I was gonna just do more dream casting. Where's Nicolas Cage? I think Nicolas Cage could actually be like Vecna.
That would be cool.
Strahd Cage, yo!
He's currently playing Dracula in that new movie that's coming out.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Wait, no, not Redfield. Renfield.
Renfield. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely excited for that movie.
Strahd Von Cage, Nicholas Zarovich.
Nicholas von Zarovich.
Oh my gosh.
What if they just did that? What if they were like, yeah, this is Curse of Strahd, but he's actually just Nick Cage and not Strahd?
He could probably
Like,
do
he
it
is
really
just
well.
Nick Cage.
I think he has
the first movie
ability.
where he played himself.
He could do it, actually. What about Pedro Pascal?
And Pedro Pascal could be Pedro Pascal as the main character, the main guy who's trying to get him.
He's not a villain. Well, he could be, but I don't think he should be.
Yeah, no, Pedro Pascal can be Van Richten.
Maybe he could also very well play I think he could play like an aristocratic villain, someone that's a villain like Forge. They're a villain because of their influence, not because of their ability, or maybe both. Like I'm thinking he could be like the King of Waterdeep or whatever the heck they have.
They have the High Lord.
Yeah, he could do that. Oh, could you see him in like a Waterdeep suit?
That's really funny because the High Lord of Waterdeep wears a mask constantly to hide their face so it can never be seen by people.
It's just like Mando.
I was gonna say, hear me
Oh
out.
my gosh.
Pedro Pascal is in D&D, but he plays a grizzled down on his luck guy that adopts somebody that he was supposed to be targeting.
No.
And they travel across the land and become best friends.
That sounds really original, and I feel like he's never played a role like that before.
I am a visionary.
He definitely hasn't played that role twice now.
No.
See, here's what I'm thinking, because they had those people, the Waterdeep and the Baldur's Gate people, both perished in the movie.
They gotta get new ones.
That's what I was thinking, and I was like, in the adventures that they're from, those characters, the people that are like the NPCs that run those cities, are almost assuredly pretty important and almost assuredly kind of villainous.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate is supposed to be like super corrupt.
That's why. So, like, can't you see the person running or pulling all those strings being Pedro Pascal?
Yeah.
It would be an interesting take.
And then the movie ends after they're getting ready to arrest him, but then Descent into Avernus begins.
Oh, wait, no, that's sick, though.
and
then
Pedro Pascal. Actually, no, that is a thing, though, because in the Descent into Avernus adventure, the guy who is in charge of Eltruel and / Baldur's Gate, depending on how you did it, he does become a devil later in that, which I don't know if you guys did you guys ever meet him?
Not as a devil.
Yeah, no, I don't think you guys did, but yeah, you can find him again as a devil and kill him again.
That's what I'm saying.
He does become a devil because of his contract that he made, which sold the city to hell.
And that's how you introduce Tiamat as an even bigger threat for a different series.
Yeah.
Played by Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Played by Miley Cyrus.
Oh my goodness. It's getting worse. Katy Perry.
Actually, I think each head should be played by a different person.
Yes, each head. One of them has to be a Kardashian.
Oh, that'd be so goofy. That's not what Tiamat is. I hate it. I don't know. Who would you get to play Tiamat? Lady Gaga?
Actually, yes, because Lady Gaga is amazing.
That's what I was thinking.
No, please.
I could actually see it, though. Not even joking.
I'm just imagining, Tiamat on a dark stage, and then the lights come on and Gaga music starts playing.
Each head, oh my goodness.
They harmonize.
And what's your simp from the adventure? What's his name?
Huh?
The guy.
The guy that's from Critical Role?
Yeah.
Oh, let me find it. I have D&D Beyond pulled up. I can look really quick.
I can't remember his name. He also loves the Vecna pieces.
Yeah.
But is otherwise a Tiamat simp. You could have that too. And then that can be Joaquin Phoenix. And it's
There
just
you
like
go.
Joker doing the
I
Flu.
forgot how long this was. Oh my goodness.
It's kind of big. It's a little big. People have been saying.
Stygian Docks, Sword of Zariel, Escape from Avernus, Path of the Devils, Path of the Demons,
Spoilers for Descent into Avernus.
Draga attacks.
Reiki Jiki.
I know it's here somewhere.
I have tomorrow off. It just occurred to me. Anyway.
Monument to Tiamat. Archon the Cruel.
Yeah. Suck on. Love that guy.
And his Manticore
Yeah.
companion, Chango.
I love those movies. What the heck?
And Torogar Steel Fist.
Okay, now we're about done with the movie. The episode. I'm sure Jordan ended this episode like 15 minutes ago.
Maybe, or maybe you're still on the air.
Don't.
Maybe it'll be
please.
2 episodes.
I can
just-
stop it if we need to.
Can we just put a ban on ever having a last name for a character be 2 mundane words back to back?
Steel Fist.
That just reminded me, and I was like, I'm done with them.
Stone, sword, hand, fist.
That's 4. That's acceptable. I'm done with 2.
What about
Cold
3?
water.
Maybe. Nope, I don't like it.
Ice bucket.
Challenge.
Yeah, I
No,
love
that's
that
my
one. That's
father.
good. Oh,
Please, Challenge was my
Challenge.
father's name.
call me Ice.
I think that's a good place to end it.
All right. There's another prolific actor we can put in that's really weird. I don't know.
I was gonna
Keanu
say one,
Reeves.
but they're dead.
That works. It's fine. They can
Bob
talk to
Saget?
corpses. Yeah.
In D&D, you can come.
Hey! We hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!